This is VOCM Open Line. Call 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626. The views and opinions of this program are not necessarily those of this station. The biggest conversation in Newfoundland and Labrador starts now.
Oh, good morning. Oh, busy doing things, not paying attention. How are y'all doing? Well, the City of St. John's is spending $3.5 million on private contractors to help take away some of this snow from high elevations. That includes neighborhoods like Southlands, Kenmount Terrace, Airport Heights. Main roads were considerably better in and around the capital city yesterday, I did notice. In fact, the crews have been making extraordinary progress given what's been dumped upon us, but a lot of side streets apparently remain narrow. I did notice a pronounced and increased snow clearing contingent on the roads yesterday evening, widening out streets and removing snow. I noticed two separate snow blowers just in my short commute from the station to home, and this morning I noticed a snow blower in a whole other area as I was coming in. So some real progress being made there, and the situation that we're in now has forced Council's hand and got them to seek out greater help in addressing some of these, more problematic high elevation areas like Southlands, like Kenmount Terrace, like Airport Heights. Are you okay with that? I'd like to hear what you have to say. While that's ongoing, of course, NL Schools canceled school yet again today. The reasoning is that, as we just pointed out, the main roads are fine, but side streets still narrow and difficult for school buses to navigate and pick up and drop off kids safely. So anything that involves safety, most people are completely behind that. But what do you think of that? They've lost quite a bit of school so far. My son hasn't been in school since Thursday of last week. I'm losing track now. I think he had a PL day on Friday, so he lost that, and now we're into Wednesday, and he's loving it. The Game Boy and the all the electronic devices have never had such a workout. But anyway, trying to keep him engaged otherwise, and I know a lot of parents are doing the same. So what do you think of that? Was it the right move? You're welcome to give us a call on that as well. Well, U.S. President Donald Trump delivered his State of the Union address to Congress last night. He warned ahead of time it was going to be a long one, 108 minutes. Did you pick up any insights there? Did you watch it, Dave? No, neither did I. I had to go to bed out of it. He hadn't even started by the time I'm usually, starting to snuggle down in the bed. But according to reports, predictably, he blamed the Democrats for allowing millions and millions of people to enter the U.S. illegally. He claimed Somali Americans, he's really focused on the Somalians, are ripping off taxpayers with fraud, and accused Democrat lawmakers of blocking the deportation of violent criminals. And yet he's facing some real opposition in the United States. Polls showing that the majority of Americans asked now do not agree with his immigration policies, even though that was one of the platforms on which he was elected. He baited the Democrats by challenging them to stand up if they agree with the following statement. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. And yet we've seen that it is Americans who have suffered, not just the people who are being targeted for deportation. And lots of people who are being held in custody in some of these camps or holding cells or whatever the case may be, who have nothing to do with illegal immigration. There's Canadians who have been held. There are UK citizens who have been held. It seems like a real mess. And 2 American citizens who disagree, now dead. Anyway, any thoughts? Give us a call. Yesterday, of course, marked the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's hard to believe that that war has dragged on so long, so many lives lost, and no solution in sight. The only bright spot from our perspective here in Newfoundland and Labrador is that our province has been enriched by a very bright and vibrant Ukrainian community who came to this province over the last 4 years, but we only wish it was under different circumstances. So if you're a part of the Ukrainian community living in Newfoundland and Labrador, if you have good friends who are part of the Ukrainian community living in Newfoundland and Labrador and you want to speak on that particular topic, you are welcome to do so. And my thought is, once all this settles down, and again, there's no end in sight, is there a hope or a dream or an expectation that you would move back to Ukraine after all of this? Or are you settled now? Are you home? It's a different country than it was before 4 years ago. Very different country. And there are communities and towns and neighborhoods that will never be the same. And that weighs heavily on the shoulders and the minds of many Ukrainians living here in Newfoundland and Labrador. If you have any thoughts, you're welcome to give us a call. They are commemorating that very sad anniversary this weekend. It was supposed to have taken place yesterday, but they had to cancel, of course, because of the weather. But it's taking place at the Basilica on Saturday, and all are welcome. A petition is being circulated by residents of the Signal Hill area who are opposed to plans to develop a rare and beautiful part of that very intimate and unique neighborhood. Limeville is a wooded property that overlooks St. John's Harbour, and if you ever walked around Signal Hill, and I do, it's such a special place. There's something about it. There's a quality of the light. There's something about it. You'll know the property that I'm talking about. It's fenced off. There's a lot of trees there. Apparently a lot of very rare plants as well. The former owner who passed away recently was a bit of a botanist and a collector of rare and unusual plants and shrubs and trees, and had, peppered this property with these very special things. And I think I've mentioned this before, but I was passing through that area last fall when we had a couple of cruise ships in, and there was a group of cruise ship passengers who appeared to be from Scandinavia, from what I could gather from their accents, and they were passing through the area, and they were remarking and they were effusive about how beautiful the area was. Couldn't get over it, especially that little green pocket on Signal Hill. So a lot of people see that as a loss. The owner recently passed away, and the property has been sold to a developer who wants to build luxury homes on the site, and why not? It's a prime piece of property. But I can see why residents would be concerned there. The property is a little gem in the middle of a relatively densely populated area. Anyone who happens to be in the area or is either for or against the development proposal is, of course, welcome to give us a call and share their opinions. And it was once a standalone department, but now Women and Gender Equality is being moved from under the Minister of Justice and Public Safety currently, and now under Health Minister Leila Evans. And Leila Evans, I'm going to say right off the top, very competent, very hardworking, absolutely no reason to believe that, that's a bad idea. But the reasoning is that, I should say, that gender-based violence is both a safety and a health issue, and having it fall under the Minister of Health and Community Services and Indigenous Affairs, by the way, will help to ensure the prevention, intervention, trauma-informed care, and support for long-term recovery, according to government. So it's an interesting move. But of course, not everything related to women and gender equality is about violence. It's about things like wage parity, for instance. It's about things like democratic reform. So is it a good move? Is it a bad move? It's an interesting move for certain. It certainly signals a very interesting focus of this particular government, and we'll learn more about that, I'm sure, with the speech from the throne on Monday. But if you have any thoughts on that, you're certainly welcome to give us a call. We're going to go straight to our callers now this morning. And right off the top, we're going to get an update from Lorraine. You may recall Lorraine on Barachois Street dealing with that mountain of ice. Lorraine, what's happened?
Good morning, Linda. It's been a late night for me. I was watching the address. I kind of cheated and paid Trump and just flashed through all his lies towards the end.
I like that. I like that line. Flash through all his lies.
Yeah. Linda, I'm very, very happy today, and I would like to send out the biggest bouquet that's ever gone out over VOCM to the four men, my brother members from QP 569, who came by yesterday and cleared out my driveway and trucked the ice away. And the biggest bouquet to them. If I was close enough, I would have hugged them all, but I wasn't, so I had to blow them kisses. But I'd like to say thank you, and thank you to the St. John's, City of St. John's, for sending them, and it was great. It made me proud to see my brother members stand with me.
Well, that's great to hear, Lorraine. I know that you were pretty distressed with what had happened. And so did it take them long to get rid of this stuff?
About 10 minutes.
If you have the right equipment, I guess anything's possible.
Yes, well, they came. There was a loader with a big bucket. There was a couple of, like a pickup truck and what we call a state body truck. And then I guess a tandem came. And at first he ended up putting it, over across the street. But by that time, he was here with the big tandem. And I'd say 10 scoops, and it was all gone. I have a video. Can't figure out how to put it up yet, but I have to go out this morning, so I will take a picture of my driveway and I will pass it along to you. Oh,
I appreciate that, Lorraine, and I'm so happy to hear that this has worked out for you. We did get a message, by the way, from the city once they saw the story up on VOCM.com, and they said, oh my goodness, well, we're working on this. So they did say that they were aware and they were working on it, and they did.
Yeah, I didn't know that they heard about it all. So I just heard a backup beeper, and when I looked out, the guys were out there. So I went out and I waved to them all, and I was like, I couldn't remember their names, but they remembered me. That was the best thing.
That's so good to hear, Lorraine. Well, safe travels now that you can get out.
Yes, first thing to do, I got my brother's coming. I got to see my sister-in-law. He got to go to the dentist. My sister got a bit of Alzheimer's. We don't like to leave her alone. So that's my first chore this morning. Take a picture, and as soon as I do, I'll send it on to you. But thank you to VOCM for giving me a voice. And yes, you're true to your words. VOCM is the voice of the common man, and you gave me a voice, and I really appreciate it because I got my point across.
Lorraine Bussey, thanks for your call and the update. So happy to hear it worked out for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And yes, the city was aware of her situation and took action. So that's great to see. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to speak with a number of people in the queue, but there is room for you to call. Why don't you do so? And we're back. Linda Swain in on VOCM Open Line. And a little update. We heard an update from Lorraine Bussey about the ice in her driveway, and that's been cleared away, and she's very, very thankful for that. Well, we heard from Mike on Witless Bay Line. There's a number of households on the Witless Bay Line down towards the Bay Bulls End who had been blocked off for a couple of days because the Witless Bay Line was shut down because of all the snow. He sent along a little update. He says this update from Mike on Witless Bay Line, our road is now clear, but down to a lane and a half. He says, don't get me wrong, for people that are trying to pass over the line, it is still closed. So the entirety of Witless Bay Line is still closed for anybody who's trying to cut down through there. But he says at least the residents can now get out. He says the supervisor called me personally to let me know that we were able to get out. He says, but they need to have their four-way flashers on their vehicles. They finished around 7:30 last night. So Mike on Witless Bay Line and his neighbors very appreciative of that effort. We are going to go now to the opposition critic for Justice and Public Safety, Emergency Preparedness and Disaster Management, Pam Parsons. Good morning.
Good morning, Linda. And I'm glad to hear that lady, I've heard her the past couple of mornings, and thank God she's getting the help that she needs. And again, it's always just important to check in on our neighbors, in particular our seniors, with this snow. But that said, I remember last year when we went through that horrible, summer of wildfires, and a lot of that was said because of the dry winter that we had. So hopefully this is an indication of a safer wildfire season to come with all of this snow. So there's certainly a bright light to this. So, hopefully that will be the case as we know.
Yeah,
but yes, lots of issues to talk about. You go ahead. Did you?
No. I can't agree more. I mean, hopefully we don't get flooding out of it when you see this level of snow. Yeah. But you're right. When the snow melts and absorbs into the ground, that's good news. Hopefully we won't have that dry spring leading into a dry summer.
Right, and a heartfelt thank you to, of course, the men and women who are on the front lines. They're out there, they're snow clearing. They're out there in the conditions that when most of us seek shelter and to stay in safe. And so hats off to them, and hopefully they're safe in doing their work. But we can all appreciate, of course, that the work that they are doing. But on another note, a couple of topics I'd like to discuss. The MOU, I really want to talk about that, because it's just too big of an issue not to talk about it. And unfortunately, we have not heard much about this lately at all. Unfortunately, it seems to be hidden away behind a curtain. But this is a huge, huge topic, and I find it fearful just to not talk about this. Because in my opinion, and based on what the experts have said, what we've learned, this is a situation. It will go down in history. It will go in the history books of Newfoundland and Labrador, of the thing that took us out of this, the state that we are in now, to prosperity, or it will go in as probably one of the biggest missed opportunities in our history of Newfoundland and Labrador. I just think it's too big not to ignore. Dennis Brown, I've heard many interviews that he's recently done. He makes amazing points to say, the Premier or anyone does not have a right to shut the Newfoundland and Labrador public out of what's going on. We need to know what's happening with the definitive agreements, with the negotiating team. And again, it will also go and rectify the wrongs of 69. As we know, we stand to gain $1 billion. Right up until the expiration, that contract doesn't expire until 41, as we know. But this would even go back and rectify and even give us, money in our coffers now. Imagine if our finance minister had $1 billion to work with this coming budget. We know we're going to see a budget come down soon this spring, which happens every year, of course, in our province. But it's significant. We need to know what's happening. I think it's just not doing justice to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador just to simply run out the clock on this and to come and say, it's not a good deal. Premier Wakeham went on and talked about an independent panel. Well, I will say, you don't get any more independent than experts, international experts that we had from J.P. Morgan, along with the other experts that we had. Also, we had them on the floor of the House of Assembly, to answer questions from every member in that House of Assembly, all parties, independents, to answer questions. And these are the experts. And of course, as we know, the 1969 deal did not have that expertise. Unfortunately, the government of the day did not bring in experts. From what I understand, it was negotiated by the politicians of the day, which, as we know, politicians are not experts in these fields. But we had that professional expertise in there. There were a number of boards to even set up to even scrutinize the deal, or the MOU, because again, it's simply an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, to get to a place to decide if we were going to go ahead and determine definitive agreements. But I hear from my constituents about people who can't pay their power bills, people who are struggling, who are going to food banks, who never had to rely on food banks before. We have to take and know what that would mean to bring us to get this money. We stood to gain $250 billion over the life of the deal. You can imagine what that would do for the cost of living measures. Our power bills, Linda, and what many people don't know, we are receiving rate mitigation from Ottawa, from the federal government. That's right, the federal Liberal government gave us rate mitigation. We see $500 million come to Newfoundland every year to offset our power bills. Now, just think about that. I'll take your mind back prior to, say, when Stephen Harper was in government. We remember that government took away, because of the feud with the PC government that was in place at the time and the conflict that we had, Stephen Harper took away from this province. He even took away our Maritime Rescue Subcenter. Now, who relies on the ocean more than Newfoundlanders and Labradorians? That was removed from this province, obviously because of politics. But it was rate mitigation negotiated by the Fury government as well as the Trudeau government at the time to give us rate mitigation. That sees $500 million come to this province to offset our power bills by ratepayers. So imagine if we didn't have that in place now. I'm hearing from people, we know that the spikes in the power bills that have happened, just recently, this month, last month, still occurring. So we have that protection, but that will expire. But just imagine what that money can do. And what's very, very important to remember, the escalation clauses and the legal expertise that will be put in this to protect us. So if the rates go up, people say, oh, Quebec's getting a good deal. Well, if the rate goes up and if the benefits go up for Quebec automatically, we would have those legal protections in place to ensure that we would have those same protections. Now, we do know that the political landscape is likely to change in Quebec this coming fall. We've seen activity happening currently with the current government in Quebec. We do know that the Bloc Québécois has actually come out and said, this is not a good deal for Quebec. This is a better deal. This favors Newfoundland, Labrador. They've said that. And they've also said they're not supportive of this deal. So I'm calling, and this is not political. This is not a Liberal. This is not a political thing. This is not an NDP thing. This is a Newfoundland and Labrador people, past, current, and future generations. So I really urge, for the sake of the people of this province and the generations to come, people who are suffering now financially, please let us know what's happening. We need to hear what's going on with regards to the panel. And please,
is the public entitled to updates on how that process is going, and what are the parameters that have been set? I know that they're contemplating, whether this is the best deal for Newfoundland and Labrador, the best deal Newfoundland and Labrador could take, but how are they determining that?
Exactly. Well, this is all things that we need to know. We haven't heard a peep, and think it's gone into secrecy. It's anything but. And this is a premier who went out and said, "Oh, the people have a right to know." He wants to bring it to a referendum, a public referendum. But please let us know what's happening, and stop. And we have to stop calling the Premier Wakem's panel an independent panel, because it is anything but. It is not an independent panel. We have one of the same members who has been vocally against, the MOU in the first place, who's back on that panel. Also, other members of the panel have come out publicly and said that this member didn't even attend meetings. This was said by Dennis Brown and other members of that panel. And also, we do know that a gentleman from Nova Scotia also on this panel. And again, this is the same team that gave us Muskrat Falls. Muskrat Falls, with regards to the environment, it makes sense, but unfortunately, it was put around the necks of the ratepayers of the province, which we are still paying. We are still digging out of that debt. Again, that takes us back to why Ottawa has agreed to give us rate mitigation to protect our ratepayers. So these are the same people now who are steering the ship, if you will. So this is not an independent panel. It's anything but. So we have to stop calling it that. But I am calling on Premier Wakem, for the sake of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. Again, this is not a political thing. Let us know what's happening. This is a deal that could make or break our province. And we have a right to know. This is too big to be silenced. We haven't heard a peep about this. Only what we've heard in the opposition, and people like Dennis Brown who are talking about it. I hear about it in my constituency. People ask questions about it, but we need to know more. Give us an update. Let's see what's happening. This is just too big to ignore, and it will be a missed opportunity for when the time comes. Oh, the clock has gone out too. The time is gone. It's too bad. We can't allow this to happen. Me, myself, as an MHA, I took an oath on behalf of the people who elected me, and I can't in good faith just sit silent and not wait. So this is the reason for my call today, to plead with the Premier, with the Minister of Natural Resources and Mines, give us an update. We need to know what's happening. This is just too big to ignore. And you know what? I really wish that there was more conversation about this past year when that MOU was first signed last year, because people need to know what's happening. And that was one of the biggest things I heard on the campaign trail. We need to know more about it.
Pam, just before
there's a lot of fear-mongering around it, but... Yep.
Before we go to a break, I need to ask you this one question because you're the former Minister of Women and Gender Equality. What do you make of the move now of moving it under the purview of the Minister of Health and Community Services?
Well, the Minister for Health and Community Services, also the Minister for Reconciliation as well as Labrador Affairs, now has another portfolio for women and gender equality. When I served as minister on that, and my colleague Sherry Gammon-Walsh served, it was an independent standalone portfolio. And I know the demands that, as you said earlier in your preamble, it's not just gender-based violence, but it's also, the pay equity is under that portfolio, and also capital ventures and many other other topics serve under that portfolio. Again, I feel I'm concerned for my colleague, Minister Evans. She's obviously a capable, very strong woman, but he has certainly loaded her down with a lot of portfolios, and one would wonder what is happening, because it's a lot for one person to take on. I mean, health and community services alone it should have its undivided attention of one minister, in my opinion, and the feedback that I've received here. As we know, healthcare and the Health Accord, which was on its way to reform our model of delivery. We don't know what's happening. We just need to hear more. I mean, again, I'm disappointed for the lack of transparency in regards to how this administration has performed thus far. But that said, we are back in the House of Assembly this week. I'm very excited to get back in. I know my colleagues are. It's been a long time. It feels like forever. We haven't been in the House of Assembly since almost a year ago, last spring, when we did budget and whatnot. But I guess there's so many questions that need answers. There's so much conversation to have. But again, we live in democracy. Let's shed light on these very, very, very urgent priorities that are before us right now, before the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. As I've said, Linda, I sincerely believe that this MOU we need to know what's happening. Again, this is, in my opinion, it's a make or break situation here for the people of our province.
Pam Parsons, appreciate your time this morning. We'll see what others have to say about some of the topics that you raised there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Linda. Take good care.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. When we come back, we hope to hear from you. And we are back. We're going to go now to Russell. You're on the air. Hi, Russell.
Hey, how are you getting on?
Oh, good. How are you?
Very interesting conversation there with Pam Norman.
Yeah.
Right. So I went through divorce, right?
Okay.
Still trying to straighten out the money. Working with the bank, but I got to do a business plan, right? Trying to get under 60,000. And let's say I've made $5 million, and since I started working, my wife made, say, 50,000, 500,000, and I'm almost bankrupt, right? Right.
Okay.
And this is kind of rough, right? And what Pam Norman said, they came to the door, knocked on the door in the election. I drove them out. I said, I don't deal with you. As far as I'm concerned, what we got to do right now is in federally, we got to get rid of Liberals, abandon them for 45 years, right? Because we haven't got a chance here in Newfoundland and Labrador. Make every Trump statement is over, and that's going to happen. Make Newfoundland and Labrador right over to Greenland and kick everybody out that's taking the fish. That's important.
Okay, that's pretty broad and sweeping, the stuff that you're saying there.
Yeah, it's broad and sweeping. But it's what's happening. Trump is going to take us over. That's it. And let
No,
Trump
that's not it. No, that's not it.
No,
that's not going to happen.
Let Trump.
No, we can't do that. Why would we allow that to happen?
Let Ontario and Quebec be one province in Canada.
Yeah, and of course he's making a real good go of it down in the United States right now.
The reason say we're so poor is because we're involved with Quebec all the time. I support Mr. Trump and what he's doing. And I want the callers in Newfoundland and Labrador to phone in and say what's happening. Linda, I'm telling you, this is the most important thing in the world. We become an independent, province or a state, right? Newfoundland and Labrador We own all, right?
Okay, all right, Russ. We can't talk to you anymore because if you're using it language like that, we can't be at it. You got that, David? Did you? Thank you very much. Russell, if you're going to get into language like that on the air, I'm afraid we're going to have to end the conversation right now. So that's what we're going to do. It's not because of the content of what you're saying; it's because of the words that you're using, and we can't play with that on the radio. So I'm going to let you go. But if you want to give us a call back and talk without using that kind of language, you're certainly welcome to do that. We're going to go now to Wayne. You're on the air. Hi, Wayne.
Okay, Linda, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Number one, top shelf, as we say.
Top shelf.
Anyway, yes, top shelf. Anyway, Linda, I want to talk to you about, I guess, what was to be the marine protected area out in the Burgeo region there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I listened over the whole discussion about, why it shouldn't be, and the primary reasons were because it conflicted with areas that that fishermen from the province are using for their livelihood. But I was thinking in a broader sense. I mean, we've been on this island now for a long, long time, and I would say there's been a commercial fishery here going on for maybe 300 years. So if somebody can point out an area of the Canadian Economic Zone that has not been fished by local fishermen here, I'd certainly like to know where it is. And on that, against that backdrop, where is it that you could develop a marine protected area anywhere along coastal Newfoundland at least, and I'm not sure how much of Labrador, but certainly all around the island of Newfoundland has been fished by commercial fishermen, given we've been at this activity for 300 years. So if you think of it that way, there's nowhere here that we could establish a marine protected area around the island that wouldn't impact commercial fishermen here.
And yet one of the arguments that was used in the whole process was that the rights of harvesters in that area would not be impacted. But the FFAW argues that there are still too many questions about which fisheries would be affected and the like, particularly anything that involves dragging.
Yes, well, the Fisheries Union also argued that we got to have areas for development of aquaculture. And I see that as a rather odd position for the Fisheries Union, given that a number of years back they argued against the development of aquaculture around the coastal Newfoundland. So it's a kind of a turncoat position for them. I don't give them much credence anyway, because they want to control everything in the ocean, and they do, even though they fish cod, capelin, herring, redfish, halibut, turbot, mackerel, lobster, snow crab, sea urchin, sea cucumber, scallops, bluefin tuna, and the God knows what else. Like, there is no room for anybody or anything in coastal Newfoundland that will satisfy the Fisheries Union anyway. So if we are to have a protected area, where could you establish it where the Fisheries Union wouldn't be all up in arms all the time? And they have no credibility, in my view, because they argue you can hardly get a permission to build a place to tie up your boat on the ocean front without getting a permit from the Fisheries Union. They got too much say in what goes on here.
What would have been, in your opinion, what would have been the benefit of a marine protected area, either in that area or anywhere around Newfoundland and Labrador?
Well, conservation for one thing, and that is something that doesn't seem to go very well or go down very easy with any commercial fisherman, even though when they exhaust any resource, they're the first to look to the federal government for help. So conservation is the big thing. We got to have an area where we can pass on to our grandchildren, at least, something that hasn't been raped and pillaged for 200 years. And the arguments for the conservation area were pretty well documented and argued by people from the federal government who wanted to establish this. So I can't see what is wrong with setting a small area aside so that things can grow and blossom naturally without being pillaged all the time.
Wayne,
we have to have...
Sorry,
go ahead. Yes, sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Well, where would you put such a thing? I mean, the federal government has tried several times to establish a marine protected area here. There was one out in, I think it was in Bonavista Bay a few years back, and politicians did the same thing they did now. They want to put themselves forward as the champions of fishermen, and we're really glad that we argued successfully against marine protected areas. We saw the same thing now, and I suspect that if we had any kind of investigative journalism here, it would find just what the fishing unions are doing in terms of how they influence politicians. I'd certainly like to know, but my number one suspicion is that they are financing political parties. To what extent, we don't know, and we never will know, likely. And I think that is where they're getting the political influence, is through their donations to political parties. We need to get some people here who can actually separate the forest and the trees, and we don't seem to have them now. And just think of this now. The fishing industry here represents maybe 10 or 12% of the total population of the province, and they speak more loudly than the other 90%, who many of whom would certainly want to see a marine protected area established somewhere around the island, but they have no say.
Wayne, we'll leave it there, but we'll see what others have to say about it. I appreciate your call.
Well, I'd like to close on a couple of points. That if we had effective investigative journalism here, somebody that could find out what really is going on inside our government, what the influences are for politicians, and in retrospect, the Fisheries Union, I think, may have even announced that the idea of establishing that zone out there was abandoned even before the province did. So I was kind of curious, the relationships there. Anyway, we'll let it go now, Linda. But this is an issue that sticks in my craw. The kind of influence that the commercial fishery has here on everything that happens. Granted, they're a significant industry, no doubt, but they don't own the ocean, and they don't control 100% of us. And we have access to nothing. If you lived in Maine, for example, you can actually go down to the DNR office and get a license to put out 3 lobster pots. Well, you talk about that here in Newfoundland and see how long you will be before you hear the roar from the fishing industry. Anyway, I'll just let it go with that. Thanks for your time, Linda.
Wayne Holloway, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. If you have any thoughts or want to respond to what Wayne Holloway had to say there, here's your opportunity to do so. We have a couple of lines open. The numbers to call coming right up. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. We are going to go now to Randy. You're on the air. Hi, Randy.
Hello, Linda. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. The mailbox is up above our Calroy. They're not even cleaned out. You gotta go over sub and get the mail.
Yeah, I don't even know if they've resumed mail delivery as of yet. I noticed some mailboxes were cleared out, others still, like you say, piled up in front. And this is tax season, and a lot of people are waiting on, mail to submit their taxes.
I understand that. Well, we're waiting for the bills. Forget about the bills.
Yeah, forget about the bills. You can leave them there, yeah.
Yeah. But that's ridiculous. Like, I'm taking care of two elderly people, 75 years old. She can't get the mail. I'll go and get the mail.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully that gets moving again. I know that they had put out a yellow alert for the St. John's Metro region, Northeast Avalon, yesterday, which meant that they would deliver where they could.
Yeah. Well, if they hadn't cleaned out, they would deliver them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's their responsibility, so...
Yeah. Just have the old things out. Put the mail in the mailbox.
Yeah, go back to door, hey.
Yes, bye.
I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. All right, thanks, Randy. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, a lot of mailboxes I noticed still snowed under. Many more besides opened up, but mail delivery has been affected and slowed by the weather that we've been experiencing lately. And I noticed yesterday too, and here's a question, I'll put this out there, maybe somebody knows. I noticed that the parking meters are snowed in. I happened to be in and around St. Clair's yesterday, and I noticed all the parking meters towards St. Clair's were all like big snowbanks in front of them. And anyone who's going back and forth to St. Clair's, arguably, would probably not be able to climb over those kinds of snowbanks to, get their ticket and put it in and all that stuff. So I don't know if people are being ticketed because of that. Anyway, I'm putting it out there. It struck me at the time when I saw it. I said, for all these people parked here, did they actually enter their license plate number into these machines? Did they actually climb up over those banks to do so? And if they didn't, are they going to be ticketed? It's a question I'm asking. Anybody who has an answer to that, they can give us a call. We're going to go now to Bernadette. Hello, Bernadette.
Hi, Linda. How are you? Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, no trouble.
I apologize for my voice. I woke up. It's a bit hoarse. I'm just calling because I'm wondering if anyone knows of any recycling companies who are still taking any plastic recyclable bottle caps, or any groups wants a couple of large bags of plastic bottle caps. There was a company, Reclaimed, I believe, or Seaside, I should say, Seaside Reclaimed out of Corner Brook, and I believe they had thousands and thousands, and they had to stop a few years ago. I used to be on my green team at work before I retired 3 years ago, and I definitely don't want to throw them out, so I was wondering if there was anybody collecting or anybody who wanted a couple of large bags of plastic bottle caps.
That's a really good question. Hopefully somebody has an answer for you and can share that. I always thought it curious. I don't know why we're not recycling bottle caps, why you have to take them off.
Right, yes. Yes, I guess they want the bottles cleaned. Hey, not that everybody does it.
Yeah, no, that's right. But still, why wouldn't they do the bottle caps? I mean, you can take the bottle cap off, clean the bottle, and put the bottle cap in with the same bottle. I'm not sure why that isn't. There must be a good reason for it, I'm sure, but I don't know what it is.
Right, unless they don't have that specialized equipment. I honestly don't know.
So you've got a lot of them.
Yes, I've been collecting, like I said, now since the past 3 years, and you don't know what to be doing. They're in the way type thing. I definitely don't want to throw them out, or any of my family members to throw them out. So I thought I find out if you guys knew.
Yeah, good question. You've put it out there. Our lines are ringing right now, so maybe those are people with answers. Stay tuned and keep listening.
Thank you very much, Linda. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Bernadette.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. 2 large bags of bottle caps Bernadette has collected and wants to know if there's anybody or anywhere that will recycle the bottle caps. And I always thought that was curious, David, that we don't recycle bottle caps. It doesn't make sense to me. It's plastic. Maybe it's a different type of plastic. Maybe there's some other process involved in that. I don't know, but it seems to me to be a bit odd to take these bottle caps and then throw them in the garbage, and they still go into the landfills and they still break down in the same ways that plastic does. And anyway, I always found it curious. If anybody happens to know or have answers to those questions, we'd like to hear from you. And earlier in the show, we heard from Pam Parsons. She mentioned off the top of her comments that power bills are going up. Well, you may recall that we had a lot of conversation last month about power bills. In fact, Dennis Brown raised the issue, saying that his office was inundated at the time. He's no longer the consumer advocate, but his office was inundated at the time with calls from people indicating that their power bill had gone up. And I thought that was interesting and curious because my power bill had remained about the same, And then we got our power bill for this month, and it was significantly higher than the previous month. And it was significantly higher than power bills that we've paid prior to this. And I looked at it and I broke it down, and it shows that we're actually using a lot less power than we did this time last year. And yet our power bill was incredibly high. And to be honest with you, when it came in, I had a look at it and it set me back. I was just like, whoa, what is actually happening here? Of course, power rates are going up. Anyway, what's your experience? We are up to news time now with Zach Power. I see him. Hi, Zach. He's going to give us an update on the news. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. And we're back on VOCM Open Line. When I was asking about the bottle caps, I got an answer. Someone texted me. Bottle caps are often considered not recyclable due to their small size, which causes them to fall through sorting machinery, and because they're made of a different type of plastic than bottles. Or so says Google. Ha, 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 says the person who texted me. So there's their answer. We're going to go now to John. You're on the air. Hi, John.
How you doing, Linda?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, girl. I just wanted to make a comment, I guess, on Pam Parsons there. She was talking to you, especially about the MOU and that, and how that the government should be telling the people more about it and being more honest about it. Okay. I never heard her on the lines when the Liberal government was in, and they were secretly, to me it was secretly, because no one ever knew very much about it, when all of a sudden they were signing an MOU, and then they were coming out and trying to fast track it right through as quick as they could to try and get it all signed and get it done to go. So where was you two then asking for the government to be, you should be more honest with the people and give them more information and everything then? That's, why is she at that? To me, that's just talking through both sides of her mouth at one time.
I think those timelines, artificial or whatever the case may be, that were set really did set some people off. It made people wonder, well, what's the rush here? What is actually happening? It raised a lot of questions.
But John Hogan and them, they were saying, they're saying as if it was detrimental. It was not done by the 1st of April and all this kind of stuff. It was not signed, and that means the MOU would be dead. And they were wanting to make sure that it got signed, and they were trying to fast track it through. To me, they were trying to fast track it through and push it down Newfoundlanders' throats and get it done, get a deal done, get it signed, because getting all this money. But through all these talks about Newfoundland getting all this money, not once did I hear about how much money was Quebec going to get out of this deal. Not one time did you hear the Premier of Quebec saying, we're going to make hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, according to the Parti Québécois, it's not nearly enough.
Well, then
the Parti Québécois felt that the Action Avenir shortchanged Quebec.
Yes, but
yeah,
well, case must have done some short change in Newfoundland, yeah. For that, because we're getting short changed enough on our power from Churchill Falls. I mean, Quebec has they've been making hundreds of millions of dollars profits up there, while Newfoundland only got millions. And I mean, if that's them not making enough money, well then there's never enough money for to give them, and they're just going to want to take and take and take and take and keep on going. But maybe, like I said, it's time for the Newfoundlanders to start, and the people in government. It's time for them to wise up and wake up and start making sure that they're looking after the Newfoundlanders first. Not other people. The Newfoundlanders first, Canada second. But you got to make sure that Newfoundland gets looked after too. Not get into what we got into before.
The reality.
You should learn from the mistakes.
The reality, John, is that with this election coming up in Quebec, over which we have no control, it looks ever likely that Mr. Legault is going to be, well, he's stepping down anyway, but Mr. Legault's party, which has been friendlier to Newfoundland and Labrador than past governments in Quebec, is going to be defeated. And the Parti Québécois, which is only about Quebec and, in fact, separating from Quebec, they're not really interested in any kind of a federal situation, is probably not going to be the best government to negotiate with if we have to go back to the table.
So don't go back to the table then.
So we just sit on it. We don't.
Yes.
And allow Quebec to.
Why would you take on? Because basically you're taking on. You take on the more. You'll be taking on more debt because you're not getting nothing. You're not getting nothing out of it anyway. You're just basically just giving resources away. Why give it away? I mean,
were we giving it away? Were we giving it away?
Yeah. We're not getting our fair shake from it. A lot of because they've asked. Apparently, a lot of educated people have made it known that it's not a good deal. It's not a good deal for Newfoundland, and so I mean, why are you not listening to some of these people? Then you got other people saying, "Oh yes, it is a good deal." So why don't you weigh it all up and see which one comes out on top?
All right, John, we'll see what others have to say.
All right.
Appreciate your call.
All right.
Okay, bye-bye. We are going to go now to Dion Slaney. He's Smart Life Manager and Property Coordinator with the CNIB. Hello, Dion.
Hello, Linda. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Tired of looking at this giant sea of white, but I mean, it is what it is. Nobody lives in this beautiful province for the weather, do we?
No, that's right. It is what it is. That's all we can do. I go home every day and my dad will say, "Oh, more snow." And I said, "Dad, that's it. That's all we can do about it."
Exactly right. If it was too hot, we'd be complaining on that side. So
yeah, because we do like to do that, don't we?
Exactly. Linda, well, I'll tell you now, the reason for my call today has a lot to do with the snow, actually, and I just want to draw a little bit of attention to a program that the CNIB runs every year. We started in February of 2022, I think, with this campaign, and we usually run it until the 31st of March, of course, during the wintry season, and the name of the campaign is Snowway, Snoway. And what we're trying to promote, Linda, is the importance of municipalities, businesses, private residences, park owners, whatever the case, of keeping sidewalks and pathways clear. As everyone knows here in this province, and probably listening here in this morning, the lack of snow clearing, I guess is the better way to put it, is a thorn in a lot of people's side. Not only people that I represent, the low vision and blind individuals and clients that we serve, But I mean, seniors like to get out for a walk, and people with mobility issues. Basically, right now, today, and I mean, today is an extreme case. But even in some of the easier winters around the city here, we struggle to have sidewalks cleared in most of the areas. A lot of common areas are done, and downtown, of course, they move it because they have to. But yeah, what we want to do, Linda, is just to let people know to reach out. Let your town councils. I mean, it's not a city issue. It's a provincial and all across Canada. This is a campaign that runs from coast to coast to coast. The importance of letting people know. Reach out to your municipalities. It's no good to have these conversations in the evenings across tables. Nothing going to be done. So I mean, if you reach out, take a few pictures. Send it in. Most municipalities have 311 access. You can go through it that way. Town councils around the country have town halls that they have numbers to that people, citizens, can bring attention to these issues. And I mean, if you want to put a couple pictures up on social media, just use the hashtag Snowway, SNOWAY, like I said before, and CNIB will be tagged in it, and we'll add some of those pictures to our campaigns if needed, and we would certainly advocate if needed to help get some streets cleared or sidewalks done or whatever the case. But I mean, for someone like myself with low vision, I'd love to get out for a walk, Linda. I'd walk back and forth to work every single day if I could, but this time of year, normally, not even in these extreme situations like we're all faced with today, I can't do it. It's either if I want to walk, I got to walk on the street, or I got to pay taxis. I can't have a driver's license. My vision is so low that I can't drive. I'm not allowed to drive. So just in transportation alone, it costs a fortune, but yeah, that's what I wanted to do this morning. I just wanted to let people know about the campaign, and if they wanted to reach out to me here at the St. John's office, my email is dion.slaney@CNIB, that's DEON.SLANEY@CNIB.ca, or you can call the office at 709-754-1180, and I'm extension 5812.
I love the name of the campaign, by the way, because it implies that you need a way through the snow, and it also implies that there's no way I'm getting through that.
Exactly right. Yes, no way.
It works in a number of ways, and it really conveys, I think, the message that accessibility is key here. And it's not just to get rid of the snow, it's also to make sure that your footfall is in a safe place, that you are not going to slip and fall, because as we know, slips and falls, it's one thing not to be able to get somewhere, it's a whole other thing to slip and fall and then be impaired or prevented from going out for weeks or months while you're laid up injured.
Yes, and Linda, in addition to that, anybody that's either totally blind or low vision that may use a mobility cane, often referred to as a white cane, or a guide dog, they're trained on navigating the sidewalks. They're not trained on navigating the streets, because you're not supposed to be walking in the streets. And these dogs are trained to cross on crosswalks. I mean, if you can't access the sidewalk to travel or get to point A to point B, no matter how short or long it is, you're taking away two very important tools from somebody that's low vision or blind, and in turn you're taking away their independence, basically. So it's a very important campaign. Like I said, we've been running it since 2022, and we will continue to run it. And I just wanted to let the public know this morning, Linda, that that is a thing that's on the go. And again, if they want to put something on social media, please use the hashtag Snowway, and we'll certainly be tagged in it, and just to bring the attention to everyone.
Dion, I appreciate you doing that this morning because, it really comes to the fore in situations like the one we're in now. But it's throughout the winter months, as you rightly pointed out. And in situations where we're not seeing, how many feet of snow is out there now? I'm trying to estimate, but you know what I'm saying. Even a small amount of snow can sometimes impede a person. So I'm glad you raised this. And if anybody wants to participate in the campaign, they can do so by using the hashtag on social media, Snowway, or by reaching out to you, dion.slaney@cnib.ca.
You got her, Linda. You got a great memory.
Dion, thanks for your call.
And thanks for your time. And everybody be safe. And if you're still shoveling, please be careful. Take your time. There's no rush. It's not going anywhere in the next 8 hours. So, yeah.
Safe navigating out there, Dion. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we want to hear from you. And we are going now to Brian. You're on the air. Hi, Brian.
How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm concerned about people that are getting these heat pumps installed and having problems with them. Is there a number I can call to get help on these heat pumps?
Have you got one?
My girlfriend got one, and the power bills, and she uses wood heat too in the wintertime. November was $310. December was $600 and change. January was $850. The last couple of weeks now, she turned it off because she's using wood heat. She's frightened a bit because she might have $1,000 bill for February.
Wow, that's very high.
It's she uses wood heat too in the wintertime. And I called the company that installed it, and she came back to me because my name was.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Brian. You're gone all digitally distorted.
How am I now?
No, you're still a little bit off. Are you in a bad spot?
Now.
Hey, there you are.
Now?
Hi.
Yep. But anyway, the bills are coming up now. The last of January, last of February. She may have $1,000 power bill. So I recommended that she turn off the heat pump at the breaker. Okay. Keep in mind now she's using wood heat all winter, and these bills are getting out of hand. So I called the company that installed it, and it was supposed to be a St. John's number, but he answered the phone in Ontario. You there?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I'm listening.
Well, yeah. So I need some help with calling somebody who can help her. And, this is getting a little bit out of hand. And, I mean, she'll have $1,000. Well, she should have $1,000 power bill in February if she kept the heat pump going. But I called the company in Toronto with St. John's number, like I said, and he answered the phone in Ontario. I said, "Oh, this is the St. John's number." No, I'm in Ontario. So she got a grant for $22,000 and can't get no help. Where do I go from there?
What's the circumstance there? Is she in an apartment? Is she in a big old house?
She's in a house.
Yeah.
She's in a house. And they promised her new ductwork would be ran in when they done the preliminary on it. Never done the ductwork. Just hooked it up and way to go. And I was out there a couple of weekends ago, and the oil tanker came out, and the stuff's still on the ground. So somebody got $22,000 and laughing it away.
Does she have any baseboard heaters?
Yes, she do, but she haven't got them on because she using wood heat.
Right. And so the heat pump is costing her in January month $850.
Yep.
And what kind of a space is she heating with that?
Well, I guess a normal, a two-story house.
Right. That does seem excessively high.
She never burnt that in oil.
No. Is it being properly maintained, or is it somehow being blocked by the snow? Or
I don't know. Can't get no. It's not being blocked by the snow because I've been out there and made sure it's not blocked by the snow. But anyway, I called the company that installed it, and they want upfront money to come and do a service call.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's going to cost me $350 for that. And you just can't afford that in this time of the year. But there's got to be someone that I can contact to get help.
Brian, you've put it out there. We'll see what the experience of others might be. But like you say now, if she's using wood heat and the heat pump, and she's paying $850 in January month, that seems very, very high to me.
Very, very high.
Yeah.
She called Newfoundland Light and Power, who is a sponsor on this system, and they sort of said, "Ma'am, you used the power, you got to pay the bill."
Yeah, well, that is what it is, I guess.
Blind on that one.
Yeah, you're not gonna win any points there, I don't think. But yeah, what would cause a heat pump to be expending that much energy when you have an alternate source of heat, which happens to be a wood stove?
That's why I'm looking for an answer.
Yeah.
From the public, right?
Let's see what others have to say or what their experiences are. I appreciate the call this morning, Brian, and if you get any answers, will you let us know?
I will.
All right. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going to go now to a break. When we come back, we're going to speak with Nathan about snow removal in Southlands, coming up right after this. And we are going now to Nathan in Southlands. Hello, Nathan.
Good morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad, weather considering, but I'm feeling kind of trapped, to be honest with you, with the lack of snow clearing up around this area.
Okay.
Truth be told, it's almost a health concern, and of course I was listening to the Snowway presentation there, and they were talking about walking along the roads rather than the sidewalks, and my sidewalk specifically, I want to touch my property, is 8 to 10 feet back from the edge of what snow has been cleared, because my road in particular is down to legitimately one path. There is not enough room to get a person around a vehicle if they're driving up and down the road, let alone two vehicles. And I got the start of my life on Sunday night I was out and snow clearing, and I heard sirens approaching, which isn't incredibly uncommon given Westbury Estates around the corner up here in Southland. But of course, the first thought that comes to your mind is, geez, I hope everybody's okay. So I was out snow clearing Sunday night, getting ready to get the healthcare workers in my household to their jobs on Monday morning, because of course they don't shut down, God love them. And as I was out snow clearing, my neighbors, who are emergency responders up the street, took off running up the street with shovels in hand. And I thought it was getting another vehicle stuck out of the snowbank, because we had a cab stuck on our street actually in the snowbank since 4 o'clock Sunday morning that day, dropping somebody off, and they got stuck. And when they called the city asking about plows, they were told, we might not even get up to that area today. It could be Monday morning before a plow gets up there. So they had to abandon the cab and move on. So I thought perhaps they were just getting another vehicle out, but I was surprised to learn that what they were doing was clearing a path for an ambulance and a fire truck to get up the area to the house, because somebody on my street or in my neighborhood called for an emergency, whatever that is, I don't know. But the only reason we got a plow up in this area was because of that emergency response call. We had a plow leading a fire truck and an ambulance to that house. And on top of that, from what I heard, I haven't confirmed this, but I heard the fire truck itself got stuck trying to make a turn, and the emergency responders had to leave their vehicle and take off on foot. So, the snow clearing up in this area is absolutely crazy. It's turned an entire neighborhood, like a subsection of 4 or 5 streets, into essentially a giant roundabout, like some sort of mutual agreement to say that you need to go this direction if you're heading in and this direction if you're heading out, because there's no way to get around a vehicle or a person in this area at all.
Now, I see that the City Council has awarded a $1.5 million contract to a private contractor to help out with snow clearing in that area. Are you starting to see some progress there?
On the main roads, my road is still untouched. I have to do a 3-point turn with my neighbor's driveway across the street just to get out. If I have to turn out of my driveway, there's no room to turn left or right. Now, of course, the contract is always helpful, but the property taxes in this area is beyond enormous regardless. And I feel like this should be addressed regardless without the use of a private contractor. And I understand the area itself is, deserving of the higher property taxes. I mean, you go to a fancy restaurant, you pay a high bill. That's it. That's, comes with the territory. But at the same time, we're paying for city services, and it's not like my toilet flush is any better than anybody else's in the area. So what services are we paying for if we have to go outside of the city to try and get this cleared?
Yeah, it's a tough spot, and I know, there's a number of things going on there. You're a little bit further inland, you're on a higher elevation, so you're going to get the snow, and this winter has been a particularly bad one. But as you pointed out, you're paying taxes, pretty high taxes, because the property assessments in that area are high, right off the top. But for what services?
Exactly. I mean, I paid $5,600 this year in property taxes alone. And compared to previously when I lived in Mount Pearl, and I mean, they say the grass is always greener on the other side, but I mean, you can very clearly see where the property boundary lies between Southlands and Mount Pearl. And personally, I just think St. John's is spread too thin. I mean, I've seen it in Snowmageddon. I lived in Mount Pearl at that point, and you go down Tops of the Road and you can see where the property line is, or the city line is, because it goes from, say, 3 lanes worth of clearing on a 5-4-lane road down to 2 lanes, and it's the same thing here now. And personally, I just think the city of St. John's is spread too thin. I understand the logistics of trying to get the plows up in this area because they have to travel through Mount Pearl. I mean, the Goulds has been through the same thing. Anybody who's lived in the Goulds or goes over the line know the weather conditions, the terrible conditions that come with a minor snowstorm, let alone the big one that we've had. But personally, I just think the city of St. John's is spread too thin. If it's up to me, I'd love to see Mount Pearl take over Galway and Southlands. It's just easier for everybody. I mean, what are we really getting out of it as residents of this area to be with St. John's versus Mount Pearl?
Well, you're raising the age-old argument now that has been had since Southlands was first developed, and that is whether or not it should be part of the municipality of the city of Mount Pearl. You believe that you'd get better services that way?
If it's anything compared to the services I had for the years that I've lived in Mount Pearl, absolutely. I mean, there's the age-old joke that, St. John's versus Mount Pearl snow clearing is Mount Pearl's clean and efficient, and St. John's is garbage can is gone, and I can't find my cat, and the fence is knocked down. And I mean, that's no knock on the snowplow operators. I understand they got to do what they got to do, and it's a job I wouldn't be able to do, and I commend them for it. But you got to observe what's going on around you, and the fact is that it's very sad to see. I mean, not only because, as the gentleman from the CNIB said, there's tons of residents in this area, young and old, with physical and visual impairments who need the area cleared just to get around. And I mean, you're buried in a subdivision, both figuratively and literally, with no way to get out, whether it be an emergency response or just to go out and enjoy your day when you can. But like I said Sunday, I mean, the only reason we've seen that plow come up the street, and the cab driver was told Sunday morning at 4 o'clock, you're not likely to see a plow in that area today, which is at the bottom of my street, until Monday morning. And the only reason you've seen it is because an emergency happened. And I mean, if that was my immediate family member, and I'm sure tons of people can relate, where your immediate family member or your loved one is stuck in an area, unable to get out, and it could be as simple as, a cut on their hand or something, fell and dropped a knife and caught it and cut their hand. But who knows, it could have been a lot worse. And the fact that you can't get out in an emergency situation, you're buried hundreds of meters in, 3, 5, 6 streets between you and the main road. It's ridiculous that somebody's life could be in jeopardy because we can't get a vehicle out, let alone anything else.
Nathan, would you support this idea of like satellite depots, for instance? I mean, you're so far away right now from the main depot on Black Marsh Road. Would you support having a kind of a mini depot in Southlands with some equipment on the ready?
I certainly would support it. I mean, absolutely. It seems like a fairly common, plain solution to this problem. The only thing is, where do you go with this? Of course, they have Galway developed in that direction now, and there's a back and forth trying to connect Southlands Boulevard in Galway to Southlands Boulevard here in Southlands. So where would you put this depot in an area that's essentially surrounded by woods and whatnot? I mean, that has to be developed amongst the private contractors that own the area, and they can't agree on who needs to build the road to connect one area to another, let alone who's going to give up their land that they own or purchase or whatever the situation is to let the city build the depot.
Nathan, we'll see what others have to say about it, particularly those in Southlands. And will you keep us up to date on the situation now that a contract has been let to help clear up Southlands? Will you let us know how your street makes out?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it might be tomorrow or the next day, but who knows?
Yeah, absolutely. Nathan, thanks for your call.
You take care now.
All right. Bye-bye. We're going to go now to Gerard. You're on the air. Hi, Gerard.
Good morning, Linda. Hi.
Hi.
Linda, we got a lot of snow. Everybody's talking about the same thing. Linda, I'm in a situation where I use GO bus a lot to go for medicals and, really a lot. And the city, I have 2 disabled signs in front of my house, and I can't shovel, even if I had someone tries to help me with that because I have a heart condition. So anyway, and I have other health issues besides I'm visually impaired, like the other person was talking about, Well, anyway, the snow used to be pushed back where a GO bus could put in by the door, but it's getting so bad up here at K Street, you really got to keep turning your head, like, even just walking down the street. I know it can't be done overnight. I did call the mayor's office and left a message with the girl, and just like letting them know something got to be done. And I'm probably not the only person, a lot of other people,
So you say that you want to see the snow pushed back so GO bus can get closer to your door and you can get around.
Yes, yeah.
And what's the current circumstance?
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is, do you have a lot of snow in front of your house now?
Oh, yes, I really wouldn't be able to tell you. Well, I mean, you could build a snow house there, I suppose.
Okay, I gotcha.
It's like the '64 snowstorm.
Yeah.
Way back.
Wow. Yeah, you're going way back now.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, you need to get out.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
If there was ever emergencies, like a lot of us now, they probably should have called a state of emergency, like everybody was talking about. And I'm just trying to ask them. I know you're not allowed to mention certain people's names on the air, but this gentleman, he worked at City Hall. When I needed things done like that, he would send a plow. They would do what they could do. Now, I don't know how much they can do with this situation. It's really bad, and I'm not just saying on this street, on other streets, the other 2 above me,
Gerard, appreciate your call this morning. Hopefully now you'll be able to get out and around as soon as possible.
Yeah, and the other gentleman who rang in yesterday, he was with City Hall. If he would give me a call, I really appreciate it. I think he's in management.
Okay, you were talking to him yourself yesterday?
No, I wasn't talking. No. Is his name Greg or somebody? I heard you mention him on the air.
Greg Noseworthy. He's a councillor with the City of St. John's.
Yeah, and I don't know who's the councillor in my area right now.
McKay Street. I am not sure, but we'll soon find out.
Right. Yeah. But anyway, Linda, whenever somebody got to try to do something, because it is hard for GO bus to stop. It's really bad up here.
All right, Gerard, appreciate that, and hopefully the ward councillor for your area will be able to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we'll be able to help you out with that. Thanks for your call.
Well, we'll do it. If you can find out, then I'll call Dave and see. You give the message to Dave.
Oh, it's Brenda Halley. Dave tells me.
Brenda Halley.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll be in contact again, Linda.
Yeah, and if you call 311, you can get hooked up to her, or at least leave a message for her. Yeah.
I'm in a situation almost, like the other lady was, but I don't have any ice. But I suppose there's ice everywhere, because I find that lately they don't do nothing. And like if I got to go on TV myself, I'll get in TV up here, or get out with my video camera and say, look here, there's a lot of snow.
Yeah, absolutely. Gerard,
you got to do something, take some of it away.
Gerard, we're up to a break now, but hopefully now you get a hold of your ward councillor, Brenda Halley, and she might be able to get some action for you.
No, good break. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Thanks.
I'll give her a call right now.
All righty. Bye-bye. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you. And we're going to go now to Brenda Kitchen. You're on the air. Hi, Brenda.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no trouble.
I was just calling in about there's a company here on the West Coast called Triple Point Resources, and they're having a meeting on Thursday, February 26th at 10 o'clock at the Days Inn in Stephenville, and it's for anybody who fishes here on the West Coast. And just to give you some information on this project, they're developing a salt dome out in Fishels, and they're claiming this is one of the world's largest renewable energy reservoir. It's located on, I think it's about 30 kilometers south of Stephenville, and it's on the Trans-Canada Highway. And they have a website that's really helpful, triplepoint.ca, and they have some maps there. And this salt dome is supposed to be one of the largest. So when we talk about how big it is, it's bigger than the Eiffel Tower, is bigger than the Empire State Building. They've discussed storing hydrogen, compressed air, and or other gases in this salt dome. So the reason one of the ways that they hollow out these salt domes is using salt water. And this is why we feel they're having their meeting, for anybody who fishes in the area. Because when my understanding is and this is all new to me, Linda, I'm learning too, I got to tell you, but when they flush out these salt domes with the salt water, it creates something called brine, and that's much saltier water and is denser than salt water. And this is something that needs to be released, or my understanding, it's going to be released back into the ocean. So it can have an impact on the fish in the area. And so it's really important that anybody who fishes on the West Coast try and attend that meeting, because where are they going to be releasing the brine? When are they going to be releasing it? How much are we talking about? And what are they doing to make sure this brine doesn't have contaminants from the different industrial lubricants that are being used in this process of hollowing out these salt domes.
Yeah, so you say the meeting is when and where again?
Yeah, so it's happening in Stephenville. It's tomorrow, Thursday, February 26th at 10 a.m., and it's at the Days Inn. And there's an announcement on the FFAW website, so that's where we saw it too. And we really encourage people to go because, again, this is another, the size of these salt domes, and these are the diagrams that they have on their website, Triple Point does, they're bigger than the Empire State Building. These are the biggest, world's largest renewable energy reservoir. So we're seeing all these mega projects come to the area, and it's really important that the people get involved early in the early stages so that our fishery can be protected. We really need to make sure that anything that helps add to our food security here in Newfoundland and Labrador, as well as our already sustainable industry, is well protected. So anybody who fishes, they're the people that got to be there. They know what they're talking about. They know the areas. So it'll be really good. I really hope that there's a big turnout.
Yeah, and it's important to know and understand what's happening around you, what plans are for certain areas. And this salt dome, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like a natural geological formation in the ground, but it creates this big cavern. Is that correct? Like a cave almost.
Yeah, to my understanding, that's what they are, and the entire Bay St. George South region, like the Heatherton area, so they're calling this one Fishels because it's a little bit farther away from Bay St. George South. I think it's only 10 kilometers from the community of Fishels. I'm not sure. But all of Bay St. George South actually has these salt caverns. So they're known for being in the area. And there's other companies here exploring them for, I'm not sure what for, if it's for storage or for mining. But Vortex Energy is here, and they're exploring caverns in the Robinsons area. So yeah, apparently we're a part of the Great Atlantic Salt Project, and these salt domes are supposed to be a hot commodity when it comes to, and in this case is storing hydrogen, compressed air, and or other gases. I'm not sure exactly. Sometimes their plans are changing, but going to the meeting and asking those people directly, like, what are their plans now would be really great.
Absolutely. And I will ask you this while I got you on the line now, Brenda, because you had raised quite a few concerns about World Energy GH2. It looks like that's not happening now. What's your response?
Oh, well, I got to tell you, Linda, we were so happy to hear that the PC government had canceled those 3 mega projects. We had a lot of concerns with what was going on with World Energy GH2 and Everwind Fuels on the Burin Peninsula. We would like to think that if the government had the proper processes in place when these mega projects first tried to come to the island, and by proper processes I mean collaboration with the people, actually sitting down and having conversations. As you know, they ignored, like the Liberal government just ignored our questions for years and ended up arresting peaceful protesters over this. But if the proper processes had been in place, I don't know if we would have even gotten this far. John Risley got, $128 million of Canadian taxpayers' money. We don't know if he's going to be made to pay that back. Newfoundland is out, $34 million in Crown land lease fees, and it still doesn't sound like government has anything in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. So we think that, hats off to the PC government. We'll definitely kudos to them. They helped Newfoundland and Labrador dodge a huge bullet by canceling those projects. But now they got a real opportunity to sit back, look at the process in place, see what can be fixed. Let's get some renewable energy legislation in place. We don't have any legislation, so the companies are more or less calling the shots, like putting a mega turbine 1 kilometer or less from a resident, from someone's home. Like, that just doesn't make sense to us when it comes to health impacts. But, we were really happy with the decision, and we really hope that the PC government takes this as an opportunity to kind of sit back and evaluate where they are, what needs to be done before moving ahead with any of these mega projects.
Brenda Kitchen, thank you very much for your call this morning.
I appreciate you very much, Linda. And so people, please, if you can go to that meeting on Thursday, February 26th, 10 a.m. at the Days Inn, you'll be able to find out firsthand what Triple Point got planned for the area and anybody who fishes.
Thanks for your call.
All righty. Have a good one.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye. We're going to go now to Rob. You're on the air. Hi, Rob.
Morning, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks. Thanks for taking the call again. I spoke to you last week about, I believe it was 4 or 5 days ago, to be kind of in the middle of the storm and trying to get the essential workers to work here in Paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if I've heard from anybody from the town. I do know the call did. Somebody had an ear to it, and they've been posting on Facebook ever since about this and that and the other thing. I heard Nathan just call in from Southland. Sounds like he's going through the same issue that we're going through in here. Makes me wonder. Emergency services were called out, and you just look at what happened there. I mean, the fire truck stuck. I sure hope that person, was turned out okay, like it wasn't a stroke or a heart attack where time is of the essence. Because if it was, we're going to have a major problem, right? Then I hear this morning, all this news of all the money that they got let. I believe it's St. John's got let. I know Paradise got people hired as well, private contractors for snow tearing. And then they start the town of Paradise. I mean, where's all this money coming from? Who's going to pay for it? I guess we will somehow. Property tax is not enough to cover the extra, I would assume.
It sounds to me, and I don't know this to be fact, but it sounds to me like our snow clearing budget might be blown for this particular year, and most people would say rightly so, because it has to be dealt with.
100%, and I'm just saying, but I guess I'm saying because I think towns need to be, especially as taxpayers, property taxpayers, they need to be more transparent. the way I see it is, if we have to hire private businesses to clear our roadways here in the town of Paradise, I was under the assumption we had enough equipment to do it. Why wouldn't I be? I mean, we pay some of the highest taxes in the province here in the town of Paradise. I was unaware that we didn't have enough equipment, but according to the town of Paradise, and it's written on social media, we're short equipment. We never got our equipment. We ordered it 2 years ago, and then they go on to list out the amount of equipment that they have. And so they're short equipment, and they're short manpower. And so these things should be made transparent to us here in Paradise, and, it's not. So it doesn't fix the problem that we still have. And, the day I spoke to you, I said it was 16 hours for the first cut. After I hung up the phone with you, we waited 2 days for the next cut with essential workers on that road. So 2 days is 48 hours. And when I went to school, but that is too long. That is not enough. So, yeah, whatever they have to hire, or whatever they got to pay extra and get it done, absolutely. But let's be transparent and make everybody aware of the situation before the situation arises. And I'll tell Nathan, just Nathan, here's what I done. I started to talk to the neighbors, and basically started to get a little group of, well, what do you see happening up here? Are you having a problem with, are you seeing things that should be done different? And everyone is in agreement with me. So everybody knows that the power of many with the same issue is better than the power of one. So,
Rob, we're overdue for the news, I'm afraid, so we'll have to leave it there. But I do appreciate your call. Thanks.
Well, thanks a bunch.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. And we're overdue for news. Sorry about that. Coming up.
You're listening to a rebroadcast of VOCM Open Line. Have your say by calling 709-273-5211 or 1-888-590-8626 and listen live weekday mornings at 9 a.m.
And we're going to Colin now with a traffic update. Hi, Colin.
Hello, Linda. How are you today?
Good.
Good. I just wanted to let your listeners know in the Mount Pearl Topsail Road area there, we have looks like a vehicle collision there by Fun and Fast. So we have the RNC on site and municipal enforcement officers with the city of Mount Pearl are there as well, just trying to keep traffic moving in that area. So people should just use a bit of caution when they're traveling there.
Absolutely. Does it look very serious, or is it just impeding traffic?
Looks like it's a regular fender bender, but traffic is slowing going through the area if you're heading into Mount Pearl. So coming from Paradise, you're going to have to be a bit slow going through there.
I really appreciate that. Thanks very much. A traffic accident on Topsail Road in Mount Pearl near Fun and Fast, and it's causing some slowdowns in the area. Please use caution.
Take care, Linda.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So be careful if you're traveling in that area. We're going to go now to Brian. You're on the air. Hi, Brian.
How's it going there, Linda?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, but I see they're spending a few bucks for the snow clearing.
They are?
And they're going to spend a pretty buck when there's a last-minute thing like that. They really haven't got... The contractor can ask what he wants. They knows they wants it. 3 different companies, I suppose, paying out a fortune for this. But in the meantime now, why did they wait so long for to make a decision like this? I know there was pressure put on council and everything. This one, Leanne Windsor, I know that since she's in there, there's nothing but trouble. Everything's gone downhill since she got there. Is she really qualified to do the work?
I simply
council should have a look.
Can't respond to that in any way. There's no way for me to know.
Well, I got an idea. Well, you just look around and see what's going on. One of the things, like the mayor, they had a press conference the other day. What did the mayor say about, you get more snow removed when you're hauling to the harbour down there? So, in other words, that's telling me when they're hauling to the dump, they're waiting for trucks, snow clearing equipment all stopped, waiting for trucks. So what he should do is lay off some of the removal crews and just see what trucks he got. It don't make sense. All he had to do was hire on more trucks, and they'll get the same amount of snow gone. It's too stupid. Waiting. That's what he said. You got to wait around. And another thing, when they're doing snow removal and they get a bit of snow, they got to stop. That's like tonight now. They got some snow coming tonight. Are they going to stop removing? They don't have to.
No, they don't have to, but the same resources are then going into clearing the roads.
Yeah, they got the equipment to do it. This is what I'm telling you. They'll hire on. All they need is the sanders to cover the city, to keep the roads open and salt the roads. That's all they need. If it's snow like this, 5 to 10 coming tonight. If it was a big storm, yeah, that's different. But they can really keep the sanders to themselves and just do the sanding and the plowing. They all got blades, and they hire on the extra trucks for the removal. All the equipment is there. The men are there for removal. Why stop? We used to do it.
You say we used to do it. Do you mean the city, or were you with the city at the time?
I was with the city. I was talking to you the other day.
Oh, yes. Okay. You're the same fella. All right.
Yeah. I told them to get the money on the go, get it going, and they did that night. They started in. And that's why I say, why did they wait so long? What's his name? Dennis O'Keefe was out the other day driving around, which he shouldn't have been, up in the Southlands. He's talking about satellite stations. They had two when I was there. They had one on Robin Hood Bay, equipment and all that down there, and there's another one here in the Goulds. It's on the go right now. They got equipment. They load their salt. I don't know if they use them anymore, but they did in Dennis's time. You could probably do, that's 3 in the city, 3 areas there. Good areas, Goulds, to cover Southlands, and the plant itself out on Black Marsh Road, dump. Might need one more out around up Thorburn Road, that way somewhere. But that should cover it. And if they use them now, I don't know. Or they haven't got an idea if they do or not, I don't think. Back when I was there, I tell you now, they had 42 equipment routes to do the whole city. That's 26 years ago, is it? 42. That's the whole city, loaders and graders. And besides that, they had 25 sanders doing the city in their routes. So they covered the same roads as 42 heavy equipment.
The city was a lot smaller then, too, though.
Yeah, and what do they get now? That's what I'm trying to say. It's 26 years later, right? The city expanded. The city's getting bigger. Are they still using the same amount of routes, 42 heavy equipment routes for the city? Or are they taking streets and adding them on every year, all the routes? That's why you're not getting it done as quick. Everything is slow. And this one, Leanne Windsor, that's why I asked, is she really qualified to do the work? Where did she come from? The housing? I don't think she's qualified. All I see is going downhill.
Brian, we'll leave it there, but I appreciate your call this morning. Thank you very much.
No problem, Minna.
All right. Bye-bye. And if you have any thoughts or response to what he's had to say, you can give us a call. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about snow clearing, oil deliveries, the National Marine Conservation Area, you name it, right after this. Mike Murray's next in the queue. Hello, Mike.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to say something about snow clearing.
Okay.
And I've got to say, I've heard a lot of people calling in and complaining, and I'm not saying their complaints are not legitimate, but I've lived in the downtown area, for a long time, and I've owned my house for over 20 years. And over the past several years, under the new Public Works administration there, I've got to say the snow clearing is the best it's ever been since I moved down here. We almost always get a cut within 8 or 10 hours of the snow stopping. And I mean, I go back a few years to dark NL, and we spent 5 days without the plow coming down the street when nobody had any power, and people were trapped like rats, more or less, because you couldn't get off the street. So I've got to say that the cities, in my experience, in the downtown area anyway, is doing a great job.
That's good to hear. And you know what? I have to tip my hat. I know there's a lot of people who are dealing with a lot right now, and there are certain streets and certain neighborhoods that are facing some real difficulties, and I don't want to take anything away from that. But I have noticed in the last 28 to 48 hours a real concerted effort to get those roads clear, and it's a monumental task.
Yep, no doubt about it. Like I said, I'm completely satisfied with snow clearing on my street and in my little area, except for one or two little things. Number one is that calling 311 is like beating your head off the wall. Nothing ever happens. And number two is that in the old days, as bad as they were, the operators knew the neighborhoods better and knew where you could pile snow and knew where, like on our street, I live in a little tiny street that goes in off Kings Road. I mean, we get the plow come down our street, but then 2 hours later, the big plow goes down Kings Road and blocks off the end of the street so nobody can get in or out. I think the people don't know the neighborhood and think it's a driveway, and I wish people knew the neighborhoods a bit better, but other than that, in terms of timeliness and stuff, it's been great. I mean, sometimes, like I said, I live in a small street, sometimes only a pickup truck with a plow blade on it. But, we're always getting at least one cut so you can get off the street if you need to, if there's a medical emergency or you need groceries. So I got to say, it's much better than it used to be in the old days.
Mike, thanks for that.
Yeah.
It's good to hear both sides of the argument, so to speak. Thanks so much.
Like I said, I just thought I'd speak out because all the feedback seems to be negative, and I'm pretty pleased with how things are going right now.
Good to hear, Mike. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. We're going now to Gary. You're on the air. Hi, Gary.
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm just calling for my mother-in-law, my darling. She's 75 years old. She's not long out of the hospital. She had some heart problems.
Can I interrupt you for a moment, Gary? Sorry, we'll get to you in just 1 second, but I've just been passed this very important message that I want to get out to our listeners right away. The RNC has issued a directive for all residents of McIvers to shelter in place. Officers are responding to a weapons offense in the area. There are no reports of any injuries at this time. All residents of McIvers on the West Coast are being asked to lock their doors, stay away from your windows. There is no traffic going through that area at this time. It is an active and ongoing response, according to the RNC. Further information will be provided as it becomes available. Very important to get that out there. Residents of McIvers asked to shelter in place, lock your doors, and stay away from your windows. I'm sorry, Gary, you go ahead.
That's no problem. That's more important, I guess. Yes, I was saying she was in the hospital. Went in on the 10th. She had some problems with her heart, and she finally got home on the 17th. Now, the 18th, she woke up. It was cold. She said, I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with my furnace. So she called the furnace technician who came over and looked at her furnace. He said, there's nothing wrong with your furnace, he said. He said, but the problem is you have no oil. And she said, that can't be. She said, I'm on the auto fill. He said, well, I'm sorry, you have none. He said, I'll go out and get you 40 liters now. I'll fill you up till you get a hold of whoever's giving your service. They'll get your oil for you. So that's what she did. And he did that. So she called him. And they said that their excuse was they had no access to her tank. Now, I mean, she has a steep driveway, but that driveway's always plowed out for every snowstorm. Every time the snow, it's always plowed out and salted. And now even her tank is always unburied, so they got access to it. But that's since the 18th, and here it is now the 23rd, 25th. She still has no oil delivered from this company. And she's calling them every day, and they'll be there. They never show up.
So is there a pathway straight to the oil tank? There's no impediment there?
Nope, come right up to her driveway, and it's right there on your left-hand side. I mean, you can actually walk up the hose that they used to do years ago. I don't know whether they're not doing that now, but I mean, her access to her tank is no different than anybody else's tank. It's right there on the side of the driveway.
And yet they won't. So what needs to happen for them to make the delivery then?
Well, they're saying she has to have her driveway more clear. I mean, her son's down there where he's plowing it out, and they put over 60 pounds of salt down today, and they're supposed to come up again this morning. They still never showed up to drop off any oil to this woman. I mean, it's 75 years old, hadn't wake up in the cold. It's not very nice. I don't care. I'm not going to say who, but I think it's terrible. She's on the fill plan. They fills her up automatically every month and a half, every 2 months, whatever it is, and she faithfully pays her bills. And she's been out, like I said, since the 18th.
So they're saying that even though the path is cleared, it has to be cleared more.
They want it right down to the bare pavement, and that's what she got done there today. I mean, with a bit of snow in her driveway, it's always plowed out. I mean, she drives up her driveway, no problem with her car. Her neighbor next door comes up the same driveway without any issues. I mean, so they called it today. She called today. So the problem they're having, they can't back the truck up your driveway too much. You got to put down some salt. So her son and her brother went out and bought 60 pounds worth of salt and completely pickled her driveway. So there's no excuse for not come up here today and get that filled for. And I can't say what the company is. That's the killer. I can't say what the company is. But I mean, like I said, she should not have to wake up at 75 years old, not long out of the hospital, cold. It's just not good enough.
Yeah. Well, and you've raised this issue with the company involved?
Oh, my gosh. She's called them every day. Every day. They're going to be, we'll be over. They'll be over. They'll be over. They keep making excuses. She'll be, just wait. They'll be there. And she's still waiting today. It's insane. I mean, I don't know if it's just the one driver in this area, because we're out in New Harbor, so we don't know if it's just the one driver, 2 drivers, 10 drivers. We don't know. But they're saying that they can't get up her driveway, which I'm sorry, there's no problem. You can walk up that driveway, you can go up on a bike, a pedal bike, get up that driveway. That driveway is right to the bone, perfectly dry. So, like I said, I don't know.
Well, Gary, hopefully she gets her oil delivery today. Will you let us know?
I certainly can, yeah. I'm hoping she get it today because the gentleman who looked at her first, he comes by, he calls every day. Are they there today? She says no. He said, don't worry. He'll go back another 40 liters, keep the heat in the house. But again, she woke up this morning with no oil. She froze again. It's not right.
Yeah. All right, Gary, let us know if she gets that delivery, will you?
I certainly can.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And once again, for anyone who may have missed it, the RNC has issued a shelter in place for the town of McIvers. That's over on the west coast. There is a weapons offense that police are responding to in the area, not saying exactly what the nature of that weapons offense is, but no doubt it is cause for concern. No reports of any injuries at this time. All residents of McIvers are being asked to lock their doors, stay away from their windows, no through traffic at this time through McIvers. This is an active and ongoing response according to the RNC, and further information will be provided as it becomes available. And VOCM News, you can guarantee, will give you the latest updates on that ongoing and evolving situation. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we hope to speak with you.
The Tim Powers Show. Join the conversation weekday afternoons at 4 p.m. on your VOCM.
And we're back. We're going now to Barbara Barter. She's the chair of the Burgeo-Ramia National Marine Conservation Area Committee, and she also served on the steering committee there. Hello, Barbara.
Good morning, Linda.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. The weather is nice. We have no snow, so that's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base this morning. I was listening to Wayne Holloway earlier, and he made some extremely good points. Matter of fact, after he hung up, I went out to go back over some of my literature, and the province has always declined any opportunity to explore the NMCA, which I think is really unfortunate. And the reason that they've often given, and I'll read directly from a September 2014 letter from the minister of the day, He said, given the significant interest now being expressed regarding potential aquaculture development in the region, I believe additional examination of this opportunity in particular is warranted. And that, to me, doesn't say no. It says no to the NMCA, and that was clear out front. The government was always saying no, even though they didn't have the background, they didn't have the data analysis. Point blank, they didn't have the feasibility study. And the very thing that would help us complete the feasibility study would be the additional examination, and that has never happened. And we almost got to the end this time when Premier WOCM pulled the plug on a election promise, And, that's vital information, I think, that we should all have in order to make an evidence-based decision. And that has never happened. And there's always been, I think, a resistance from FFAW and the aquaculture. And, we were told up front by aquaculture that they were going to kill the project, regardless. And, there's a triangle there of government acceptance, FFAW acceptance, and aquaculture acceptance that there shouldn't be any protection area in this region. And, we have a long coastline from Marystown up to Port of Basque. And we were asking for a portion of it, not only for conservation, but also for economic development in the way of tourism. And that, in my mind, and I'm not a scientist, but that in my mind would have helped protect this whole area, not only for us, but for the remainder of the province. You have to have breeding spaces for marine life. And for your coral and for your soft sponges and everything else that makes the ocean work.
This was a Parks Canada proposal, I know, but what drove it? Why that particular area? Who was the first to come up with the suggestion? Tell us a little bit of that history.
Well, it began back in 2003. 1992, we saw the cod moratorium, and I would guesstimate that about 97% of our community and Ramias, everyone was in the fishery around the draggers. They were in fishery in some form or another. And the rug was pulled out with no jobs. They had jobs one day and they were closed down the next. And there was almost like a painful lull for about a decade. And then we started thinking about, alternate forms of economic development. And so this was proposed to us. I was on council at the time. And this was proposed to us as a possible way to not only protect our coastline, but also to look at tourism. And so it started there. We put a proposal into the federal government. It came back. We had to do some work and add an addendum. We resent it in 2005. And they were quite interested. We had support from other groups, scientists and various organizations that are into conservation that strongly supported it. But we didn't get support from the province. That letter, there's more to it than what I read out to you, but that became the template. Every time the municipal government changed, we sent in a letter and made the same request and requested to do a presentation with the provincial government. So that was done several times until about 2017. There seemed to be a crack in the armor, and there was a bit of interest shown. And so hence we worked on it until 2023. In 2023, the feasibility study was approved through the MOU. But, there's been resistance to it, of course, ever since then.
And when you say that this concept was brought before council, who brought it before council? Was it a member of the community? Was it a member of an interest group? How did it come to your attention?
It was a gentleman by the name of John Liam, who formerly worked with Parks Canada. I think at that time he was retired, but he knew our coast extremely well. And, so council took his information and started investigating themselves. And it wasn't Parks Canada that drove this. It was a presentation to us, by him of the possibilities. And then it was the town of Burgeo who took the lead then for the next 20-odd years.
Right. So you're disappointed with the turn of events.
Well, yes, certainly I am. Many people are. We weren't asking for the NMCA. We were asking for the feasibility study. And, what information in there would be of value to us to determine whether we went forward again. There was an underlying understanding from these communities that, number one, they'd be allowed to continue a traditional way of living, and that there wouldn't be a negative impact on our other industries, such as the fisheries. And rightly so. We have a lucrative lobster fishery and halibut fishery and crab. And, that's important to the people as well. So then the question is always, well, how do you work together in a model that incorporates all of those industries as opposed to focusing on one or the other?
Well, the FFAW had some serious questions about that and what the future impact on the fisheries would be, and various fisheries for that matter. Are there concerns founded? How would their concerns have been addressed?
FFAW, and I sat on the committee at the time, were asked on several occasions to come to the table to have a discussion. As a matter of fact, after I heard one of Ms. Street's conversations on, I think it was on Open Line, but it might have been the broadcast as well, I went back to our notes because we don't, we keep records of every meeting that we have, and asked the question as to how many times they were contacted. And the response was there was approximately 27 emails went to FFAW to ask them to come to the table for a conversation. And there was a request to meet a total of 19 times. And there were 3 meetings where FFAW was present, either on their own or in attendance with another group. And, that's the critical piece. But they seemed, at least from my perspective, they seemed to be closer aligned to the aquaculture industry and government than they were, aligned to have a discussion about how this could enhance our region and what would need to be done to work together. And I think that's very unfortunate because to me it means we've lost out on this coast.
Barbara, I appreciate your call this morning for your take on this whole development. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye. Barbara Barter is the chair of the Burgeo-Ramia National Marine Conservation Area Committee, and she also sat on the steering committee there. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to speak about, a number of things coming up right after this. And we're back. We're going to go now to Sheila McKinnon-Drover with L'Arche Avalon. Hello, Sheila.
Good morning, Linda. How are you? And all the snow.
Making out the best as possible, I suppose, like all of us.
We're going to get some more tomorrow, apparently.
Yes. Yay.
Oh, dear. But that's it. That's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, I'm calling today to tell you about our annual L'Arche Avalon auction. Now, for people who may not know what L'Arche is, it's an organization which supports adults with intellectual disabilities, and we're working toward building 2 houses, actually, to house adults with intellectual disabilities, and we actually have land, which is pretty exciting, and a commitment of support from government for various things regarding that construction, and it's in the Pleasantville area. So this is one of our many fundraisers, and this is probably the most important one of the year. It's our L'Arche auction, and you don't have to go out in the snow to be part of the auction and wave your card and say how much you're bidding. You can actually go online, and the auction is being held from March the 3rd, which is Tuesday of this coming week, until Saturday. It starts at 9 in the morning and ends at 8:59. We've learned from experience that we need to be very precise in when the auction ends so that people aren't confused about whether they were the best or the latest bid. But we have all kinds of things on auction. There'll be some books, not many, unless they're special, very special books. There's artwork. There's household items. There's anything you can mention. I think you're likely to find in an auction, because everything that we auction is donated, and you never know what great surprises you're going to find when you open a box of donations for the auction.
Absolutely. And as they say, one man's trash is another person's treasure. You might have something that you've had in your basement or tucked away in a closet forever that you haven't used, and somebody is looking for that very thing as we speak.
Exactly, and everything that we put in the auction is good quality. It might not be brand new, it might not be new at all, but it's certainly in good condition and good quality. Anything that comes in that doesn't fit in that category goes to our yard sale, which we hold usually in early June. So there's a second chance to get something you might have missed in the auction.
So when is the auction, and how can people get involved?
Well, the auction starts on March the 3rd, which, if you can believe it, is this coming Tuesday, and starts at 9 in the morning, and it ends on March the 7th, Saturday night at 8:59 p.m. to give people a chance who are working during the week to go in and bid on the weekends. And you can go to our website, L'Arche Avalon, that's capital L-A-R-C-H-E, and if you go there and just click on the link and request to join the group, and once your request is approved, which is, pretty automatic, you'll be able to see all the auction details and participate by bidding on the items.
So that's actually on Facebook, is it?
Yes, that's on Facebook.
Yeah,
that's
so
right.
L'Arche Avalon on Facebook, and request to join the group, and you'll get in there and have a look.
That's right, and that's L. Well, the correct spelling of L'Arche is capital L apostrophe capital A-R-C-H-E, Avalon, A-V-A-L-O-N. Or as my grandson told me, Nana, it's not capital, it's uppercase. So
He's not wrong. Sheila, thanks for this. So once again, L'Arche Avalon holding a online auction from March the 3rd. That's this coming Tuesday, as you say. I can't believe that. Until March the 7th at 8:59 p.m. sharp. So have a look at those items and make some bids and get some great deals and help out a fantastic cause.
I really appreciate you getting this out to all of your many, many listeners. Linda, thanks very much.
All right. Thank you, Sheila.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Unfortunately, not the best of lines there, but I think she got her points across. The shelter in place has been lifted in the town of McIvers. We're happy to say one man has been taken into custody. Charges are pending. RNC will have more details on that a little later on, and the police are thanking the public for their assistance. Scary situation when you're asked to, lock your doors and stay away from your windows, but thankfully people can go about their business once again in McIvers. One man taken into custody and charges are pending there. We are going now to Edgar. You're on the air. Hi, Edgar.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, boy. I got the same old complaint on the behalf of the people here in Blaketown.
And what is that same old complaint?
Well, same old complaint is I went down this morning. I come up the road last night after checking on a senior down the road, just down the road from me there, about a kilometre and a half, and when I pulled up his driveway, all the lights were off, so I realised there was something wrong, so I made some phone calls to his son, and he was over in Carbonear Hospital. I just went down and checked on him, and on the way back, he's okay, by the way. He's home again now.
That's good to hear.
On the way back, I hit the same potholes that people are telling me here in town. I'm chairperson here in town, by the way. Gets phone calls every day. I spot one of my tires and rims last night, so that's kind of got to me now. I made a phone call about it to the member a couple of weeks ago, and she texted me back without phoning. She texted me and said, we don't work on potholes in the wintertime, like January, February, March, April. So I don't know when...
Sorry, Edgar, you're going all digitally funny there.
Well, what about now?
Are you in a better spot?
Yeah.
Okay. You messaged your member, who is Sherry Gammon Walsh?
Yep.
And mentioned the potholes. So that's obviously a provincial road that you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
And you're the chair of the local service district?
Yeah, in Blaketown, yeah.
Right on. And so you mentioned it to her, and she said that they don't do pothole repairs in the winter months.
They don't fix potholes in winter months. So we're talking about December, January, February, March, and April. So when do they do them? That's the only time they create in the wintertime.
And spring, of course, when the ground thaws a bit. So they can't put some fill in there or coal patch
You would think. I went down this morning and put a cone in one right in the middle of the road. I took the tape with me. It's 13 inches deep and 2 feet in diameter. The hole that I hit last night. So I mean that's a little bit too much.
And is there signs or pylons or anything there?
No, not a thing. But that's not the highways. That's got nothing to do with the highways. The highways are doing the best kind of job here. They're up and down the road every time it snows, and they're doing it out. Every time you push it in my driveway, I push it out of it. So they're not doing nothing wrong. Their boys up there are doing perfect. I can't say nothing about them. All I'm saying is that the member here should be more on top of it instead of spending more time in other places like Placentia and in places. That's where it's all going. We're not getting nothing here. Not here in Blaketown. And people are still voting it in, so, not much you can do about it. But I went down and put a cone in one of the potholes, and when I went down just now, it must be after a big truck coming up the road and running over it. I suppose you couldn't stop, right?
Yeah. And it has to be the I guess crews that have to put any signage there or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
That's needed.
Well, I just put a soft rubber sign there. If someone did hit it, they just run over it and go on, like a little small thing that's not going to hurt nothing.
There used to be a gentleman up Summerford Way near Twillingate, remember? And he used to go around on his motorcycle and put the bright paint around all the potholes so people could see them.
Yeah, I did that here in summer.
Is that right?
Yeah, and it's still not fixed.
Would it make it more visible if somebody put some paint there?
Yeah. You make it visible, but you think when some parts of Department of Transportation sees the paint on the road, they'll say, "Gee, that got to be fixed."
Yeah.
No, but nothing. No. And she messaged me back and said, "I got a letter gone into the PCs." I didn't understand that because she's part of the government. She said, "I got a letter gone into the PCs to request to see if we can get this fixed."
She's your member. She's your member, yeah. But she's on the opposition side.
Yeah, but it's like they're separated.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Some people would say that's part of the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still with the same election. They're still with the same government team. Like, why would she say, I sent a letter into the PCs?
Because she's not on the government side anymore. And so all she can do is make that recommendation on your behalf. Edgar, I'm afraid we're out of time. I have to leave it there. Thanks very much for your call this morning.
Yeah, anyway,
right.
Well, I guess...
we're up to news time, and I have to go, I'm afraid. So we'll have to leave it there, but you can call back later. Thank you very much, and we're up to news time now with Sarah Strickland, who is looking at me, staring me down. Thank you very much for your contributions today. We'll be back tomorrow. Thanks for listening.